That's right. They told the mayor to stay in his lane. They're not interested in having him get involved in this dispute between Pride and Black Lives Matter Toronto. They want the mayor to focus on whatever else, but they want Pride and Black Lives Matter Toronto to be dealing with the issues, of course. And they reiterated the list of demands that was signed, of course, by the executive director of Pride Toronto, Mathieu Charlebois, on Sunday after the parade was come to a halt after that sit-in for about half an hour. Joining me now, who's one of the speakers earlier this morning at the event, was Dr. Ronaldo Walcott. Dr. Walcott, let's talk a bit about this list of demands that's come up yet again today. Is there any flexibility at all in the list of demands, or do they all need to be met in order for Pride and BLM to work?
Well, I can't speak for BLM, but I think that the demands are totally reasonable, and I think that Pride should do everything possible to meet all of those demands. It's not like these demands are new. You can go back to various community meetings within the queer community where many of these demands were raised before. But we can also go back to the community engagement process from about 2011, 2012 that was led by Brent Hawks, that where many of these demands are also embedded in that document.
So where's the resistance? Because here we are, 2016. This has been on the table, as you mentioned, 5 to 10 years.
Well, I think that within the Pride organization itself, there's a kind of disingenuous relationship with the larger queer community, if we're honest about it. So I think that, and in one of the ways in which that disingenuous relationship works is that they feel that they can ignore the demands of the most marginalized within the queer community. That happens to be Black folks, that happens to be trans folks, that happens to be people living with disabilities, and that happens to be people who do sex work.
So even though the message of the parade was apparently inclusiveness and everybody's welcome, everybody has a seat at the table, you're suggesting that, in fact, those are false words, false hashtags from Pride? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, I would argue that, that what is meant by inclusion is really not well understood. That inclusion doesn't mean that we all arrive at the table the same way, equally, and as the same kinds of people. So for instance, the big issue that seems to be stuck in everyone's craw is around the police marching. But BLM hasn't said that the police can't march. They just said that they don't want official police floats and police marching in uniforms because that represents a particular symbol to Black communities, sex working communities, and so on. And that's not about exclusion. That's about a different definition of what inclusion is and who should be the focus of the Pride Parade and who should feel comfortable and wanted at the Pride Parade.
Okay, Dr. Walcott, I appreciate the explanation there, certainly about that. And so that's the situation from here. Again, we heard much more of that throughout this morning's news conference, Rena, but right now I'll send it back to you.